In a peaceful village of China, where towering mountains embraced the humble rooftops, there stood a sacred peak known as Heaven Peak. For generations, the villagers had dreamed of building a temple on its summit. They believed that if such a temple existed, their prayers would rise straight into the heavens, touching the realm of the divine. Yet the path to the peak was treacherous, steep, rugged, and full of danger. Just a single misstep could cause a climber to collapse midway, never reaching the top. Faced with this shared aspiration, the village elders announced a challenge. Whoever can build a staircase leading to the summit of Heaven Peak will not only bring glory to himself, but also blessings for the entire village. This declaration quickly became a spark of inspiration, igniting excitement and determination in every heart. From the frail elders to the spirited young men, all eyes turned toward the towering mountain, each dreaming of the day their feet might step upon the sacred staircase that would lead straight into the sky. Among the villagers gathered that day, the most striking figure was Wei, a young man full of strength. His body was broad and powerful, his arms solid, and his voice thundered with confidence. Stepping forward with his head held high, he declared, "I will build the staircase faster than anyone else. I will be the first to set foot on the summit of Heaven Peak." His proud words stirred the crowd, who erupted in cheers and applause. Everyone believed that with his extraordinary strength, Wei would surely become the victor, the one to lead the village toward their long-awaited dream. Yet, amid the noise and excitement, a soft, gentle voice arose. It belonged to Lin, an elderly widow, her back already bent with age, her hands trembling with weakness. She stepped out before the villagers, her smile warm and calm, and said, "I will carry one stone each day up the mountain." The crowd burst into laughter. Some shook their heads in pity, others mocked her openly. "You struggle just to draw water from the well. How will you ever climb the mountain to build a staircase?" But Lin did not argue. She only smiled, her eyes unwavering, and quietly repeated, "Just one stone each day." From that very moment, Heaven Peak was no longer just a test of strength. It became the stage for a deeper contest, the clash between fiery bursts of eagerness and the quiet persistence of endurance. As soon as the work began, Wei immediately proved his overwhelming strength. He carried massive stones upon his shoulders, climbed the steep slope with speed, and set them down with a display of pride and vigor. Each time he finished, he shouted loudly, and the villagers cheered him on with admiration. In everyone's eyes, Wei was the beacon of hope, the one destined to lead them to their dream. His first steps rose quickly, grand and impressive, standing as a monument to youthful power. Meanwhile, Grandmother Lin moved quietly. She tied a small stone inside her cloth, took slow, trembling steps up the hill, and gently laid it down. There was no cheering, no applause, no one paying much attention, only the quiet persistence of an old woman. Day after day, she repeated this simple act without fail. But as time passed, the difference between them began to show. Wei's fiery enthusiasm did not last long. Some days he was too tired and chose to sleep in. Other days he comforted himself by saying, "I will make up for it tomorrow." Slowly, the piles of stone he had abandoned lay scattered at the mountain's base, never forming into anything. In contrast, Lin never stopped. Through the scorching summer sun, the biting winter winds, and the gentle rains of spring, she whispered to herself, "Just one more stone only for today." From this contrast, the entire village began to realize strength may bring a blazing start, but only perseverance can carry one to the very end. As the years slowly passed, the steady yet determined footsteps of Grandmother Lin finally brought forth a miracle. One early morning, when the sound of a bell echoed from the mountain's peak, the entire village looked up in astonishment and fell silent. Before their eyes was a winding stone staircase stretching all the way to the temple on heaven's summit. The path that generations had only dared to dream of had now become reality, not through sheer strength, nor through haste, but through the patience and determination of an old widow once ridiculed by many. The villagers hurried up the mountain, step by step feeling the sacredness of each stone laid along the way. They bowed their heads before Lin, calling her the one who opened the path to the heavens. They understood that it was her persistence, one small stone at a time, that had created an eternal road. Among the crowd stood Wei, silent and ashamed. He realized that strength and talent, without constancy, are nothing more than thunder, loud and resounding, yet unable to bring the rain that nourishes the earth. In contrast, small but unwavering efforts, like raindrops falling day after day, have the power to turn barren land into fields of abundance. From that day on, the stone staircase was named the Path of Patience. Pilgrims from distant lands came not only to climb to the temple, but also to learn the timeless lesson of perseverance. The story of Grandmother Lin became a guiding light, reminding all that true glory does not come from the fastest sprint, but from the steady steps that never cease. The story of Grandmother Lin and the stone path leading to heaven's summit left a deep impression in everyone's heart. From that day forward, the villagers no longer spoke of strength or swiftness, but reminded one another of perseverance and endurance. The path was named the Path of Patience, becoming a symbol of the quiet power born from small but continuous efforts. Pilgrims from all corners of the land came, not only to walk upon the stone steps, but also to learn the precious philosophy hidden within them. Grandmother Lin, once mocked, once deemed too frail to carry even a single stone, was now honored as a shining example of faith and steadfastness. She never sought glory, nor wished for recognition. All she did was keep a promise to herself. Each day, she carried one stone up the mountain. Yet it was this very simplicity that gave birth to a miracle. Meanwhile, Wei came to understand a costly lesson. He realized that talent without patience is but a fleeting flash of lightning, brilliant, yet gone in an instant. In contrast, steady footsteps, no matter how small, can raise monuments that endure. From this story, people came to understand that true success does not arise from momentary strength or gifted talent, but from persistence, repeated day after day. As Grandmother Lin proved, if today you carry one stone and tomorrow another, then one day you too will build your own mountain. And that is the truest strength of all, the strength of perseverance. The story of Grandmother Lin and the Path of Patience is not merely a legend of a small mountain village, but also a reminder for all of us. Those who come to the temple at heaven's summit do not only pray, but also reflect upon this truth. Success is not determined by sudden bursts of talent, but by the steady footsteps of perseverance. People often admire strength, swiftness, or innate gifts. Yet it was Grandmother Lin, a frail elderly woman, who proved that endurance is the true key. She did not build the path with dazzling glory, but with each slow step, each small stone, gathered over the years. It stands as clear evidence that even the smallest efforts, if carried on without pause, can create something great. That lesson echoed throughout the village, across distant lands, even reaching those who had never met her. They came to understand. Talent without perseverance is like thunder without rain, loud but useless. Meanwhile, persistence, though quiet and unseen, can nurture lasting fruits, like daily rains nourishing the earth. And so each of us, too, must carry our own stone each day. Whether it is learning a new skill, pursuing a dream, or building a good habit, if repeated with patience, one day you will see your own mountain rise. And in that moment, you will understand why perseverance always triumphs over talent.